I've saved tens of thousands of dollars renovating my house with 3D printing, but these kitchen countertops? They're something else. I'm concerned because 3D printing your kitchen countertops isn't typical behavior. I've already started on the bathroom floors. These tiles that make up the counter are special for 3 reasons. The edges are angled, making room for these grout filler pieces to provide an accent contrast color, and the overlapping approach also allows for some wiggle room in lining up edges. Second, the printer settings. Printing on glass is a must for a glossy finish, plus it doubles the see-through distance that you can see into the tile. The 3 solid layers on the top are 3D printed with different patterns, 1 concentric and 2 zigzag patterns. Finally, the material itself. I've been a Zero fan long before they sponsored any of my content. For this video, Zero has sponsored some other potential color combinations for me to show off in case black and red isn't your style. There's silk gold, silk purple, silk silver with twinkling blue, and if you can't print on glass, try their diamond black from this review up here. They also just released some seasonal colors that cycle color throughout the entire spool. Besides a beautiful material, cost was a huge factor. I spent on filament what a professional would charge to do 1.5 square feet. All in, I'm only slightly over $300, even with inflated prices. To protect these tiles from food and water, we need to pour resin, which I've never used before. Fortunately, this guy right here used to be a carbon fiber technician for a major aerospace manufacturing company. He can pour resin in a rectangular box just fine. With a certified pro helping me with the resin, the hardest part was admitting to Mrs. 3D PC that we used the crock pot for resin because we ran out of other large mixing bowls. I may also have been upset at the crock pot for warping some tiles through heat previously, but thankfully that was before the resin went on and the tiles were still easily replaced. Also, always test your materials first. Initially, polyurethane looked like a better option since it required no mixing. I was worried about resin getting hot enough to warp the PLA. The polyurethane, when wet, looked like it was going to have a better finish. But once it dried, resin was clearly the way to go. Plus, the resin being thicker leaks less. All the materials I've used are linked below. This clear sealant was great for holding against the wall and the countertop, but since we still had some gaps that resin poured through, we started sealing those with tape, which was great until the resin pooled underneath the tape and over the screw heads. Using a hammer and screwdriver, I split the wood in half around the screws. Painting the cabinets before doing any of this was also a big mistake, since pulling the resin mold off took some leaked resin and cabinet paint off with it. Fortunately, I did find a matching glossy oil-based black online. Now that I've lived with these countertops for a month, they're still wonderful. I have noticed a couple scratches from heavier kitchen appliances, but that just means I'm going to have to build a kitchen island later and 3D print another kitchen countertop for that. I'll do a full kitchen tour later, but for now, here's a preview of some other cool 3D printed stuff in the kitchen. Drawer handles, drinks coasters with CPUs inside. I made a sign 1 meter wide in PLA that I plan on filling with LED strips to turn into a kind of a neon sign. Initially, I was going to use the same material as the backsplash for the table, but later found a metal one to go with. So that table that you've seen in previous videos is now in the workshop and I'll use it out there. When building the booth benches, I 3D printed tools to help with the construction. Finished countertops look amazing, and they've actually made some money back. Turns out having a beautiful background for eBay listings does help sell items quicker for higher prices. Perhaps in the future, I'll have some custom circuit boards with LEDs and make a giant motherboard looking table. Only one way to find out. If you want to learn how to design your own circuit boards, check out my previous video. If you want to see how 3D printers are going to be the next major home appliance, check out this epiphany I had over here, and there's some playlists for tech skills, 3D printing stuff. Meanwhile, I'm going to go stare at the countertops for the next 2 hours, which is a very healthy habit, and I'll see you in the next one.